Hi everyone, hope you are well. Welcome to our Thursday class on goal settings. We are glad to have George back with us. For those who are not there on Tuesday, George is back. So we'll be getting to hear from him. We'll be getting to get or scoop more wisdom from him. So we'll give the rest just 5 minutes, and at exactly 6:05, George will start our class. Thank you. Hi, George. If you can hear me, we can now start the class.
Hi, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Bridget Mwaura, kindly confirm you can hear me.
Hello, sir. I can get you.
I needed to be sure that I'm not talking to myself. Joseph has just.
Yeah, you are audible.
Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are loud and clear.
I was looking for Joseph so that he can give me sharing rights.
I'm back and you have it. You have them.
Okay. Let me see how it goes. As soon as you see it on, you kindly let me know.
Yeah, the screen is up.
Is it okay so that Brian can confirm that all our colleagues are able to see, especially those who need better magnification?
It's clear.
I see we are 45 of us. Is that a good quorum to start with?
Yes, we can start due to the time factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you again. I mean, after a long while. I don't know how were the ladies. Were they good enough? How did you enjoy the classes?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
I needed to note a transition in terms of how we transitioned from self-awareness to intelligent quotient, from there to looking for jobs, applying for jobs, searching for jobs, knowing where to find them, doing your resumes, the do's and don'ts for the jobs. All that was well taken care of by Lucy Mwaura. After which we jumped into leadership and communication. And I also want to equally believe that you are now good leaders and better communicators than you were. Because if you didn't, then we have missed the bus already. But I believe Rose, Dr. Rose Rono was able to shape you well, and she was able to deliver. And I want to believe as many of you as possible were able to get the concept. So after learning how to be leaders and how to communicate in a work environment with good etiquette and of course with a sense of responsibility and confidence, I believe now it is high time for us to move to the next goal. And in this course or in this curriculum, it requires that we also talk about goal setting and also try to see how we can manage our personal lives. Because it has been discovered that 30% of the time, we lose opportunities because we are unable to manage our personal lives. So we'll get deeper to know what it means to, the extent to which our personal lives affects our ability to deliver assignments and how it shapes the other capacities of an individual in a work environment. But before we do that, I want us to introduce this topic or this module so that all of us can read from the same script and we can get it right from the word go. Goal setting and personal management is therefore a key pillar. When I got this philosopher, when I got this lady who was one of philosophers I have known, Eleanor Roosevelt, for your information, was the first lady of the American president in the years of 1933 to 1945. So as the first lady of the US government under President Roosevelt, she was also a diplomat working with the UN, and actually she's known for developing the UN Human Rights Universal Declaration for Human Rights. She's the brainchild behind that. She said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And I found it resonating so well with our topic, and it's so scintillating that it should be giving us energy and a momentum that is good enough for us to understand the concept of setting our personal goals. So according to her, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. In other words, we really need to understand our dreams, and we need to live our dreams, and we need to keep and focus on our dreams, because it is by dreaming that we actually set goals. So that is the first and my foundation to this lesson. All right. So I don't know how many of you have had a chance of interacting with this course at some level. By show of hands, can I see how many of you have had to do something with goal setting or personal management at some level, whether it's at the first degree, undergraduate, postgraduate, project management, other leadership skills? Can I see by show of hands how many of you have heard of it? How many? Bridget, confirm to me, because I'm now sharing. How many can you see on the screen?
I see two people have raised their hand.
Who and who?
Oh, there are now three. There's Lynette, Perpetual, and Mary Kibe.
Mary, okay. Let me maybe start with Mary Kibe. Just in a second or two, what was your encounter about this goal setting, and what was your experience? Just for us to learn from you before we go to Lynette. Mary, the floor is yours. Lynette, you can start if Mary is not ready. Lynette, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, Lynette.
I had done leadership as a unit in diploma in human resource management.
Leadership.
Yeah.
I was talking of goal setting and personal management. Yes. Mary, are you back? Who else? Just one person to talk about what he or she has learned about goal setting and all that. It doesn't matter. Everything is okay.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Perpetual. So there's a training I did on personal development and leadership, and we were trained on
goal setting, specifically on identifying your goals, identifying which ones are short-term, which ones are long-term, and highlighting them in terms of like detailing every detail of the goal. Maybe you want to do your master's in 5 years time, so what do you need to do that? Just breaking down every goal using the SMART technique.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent, Perpetua. I'm glad at least a couple of you have a smaller, rather have encountered this subject matter before. So it's going to be an easy interaction, and I believe today it will be better, and we hope that it will do the magic in your lives, and you can be better goal setters, and of course your personal management success is a guarantee. So having said that, then I think then we can move to the next level, so that I can explain to you what we want to achieve with this module that we have today. And I have divided the module into two. Part one of the module is goal setting, and part two of the module is decision making. So today we'll dwell purely on goal setting, and then in the next one or two lessons, we'll be talking about decision making. So I'll try to make the decision making to be relevant to who you are as graduates joining the work environment. So I'll want to see what kind of decisions are critical in your life. How do you need to make them? Where do you make mistakes? And what are the techniques of making such decisions? And what are some of the tools, scientific or otherwise, that can be available for you to make viable decisions, or rather sound decisions, for the betterment of your life. So for this particular first part, I call A, we want to unpack the importance of goal setting. Why is it important to have the whole business of setting goals in life anyway? It can be boring, it can be challenging. If not well managed, it can also really consume a lot of time. Number two, we want to identify the impact, or rather the effect of setting goals and objectives, or how the goals and objectives can actually impact your life as you do planning. How will they affect your life? Very important. Then number three, we do hope that at the end of the session, we'll be able to set realistic goals, because without setting realistic goals, then we may have to waste a lot of time and we may miss the point by the river. So we do hope that precision will be enhanced, and knowledge and skills about decision-making can be facilitated and enhanced. Then number four, we want to identify the unique personal goal setting techniques, as I mentioned, that you can use as an individual, our gender diversity notwithstanding, and of course our physical empowerment and endowment notwithstanding, including our careers. Having done that, then using the techniques, we'll see how we can create short-term and long-term, as Perpetua has said. We also see how we can differentiate between the two and how they build to each other. Then last but not least, we want to describe the importance of setting priorities. We are coming from the point where we understand that we have definitely so many goals and we have so many competing priorities. But then how do you get the best priorities, or how do you prioritize? How do you give and rank your priorities and give them adequate, given the resources are not adequate? Those who have done project management, you have heard of resource allocation. So when resources are not adequate, you may have to allocate and give weight where you think you are likely to have a greater impact. That is the sense that is a seed we want to plant, and that's a DNA we want you to have. The capacity to know where you need to invest your resources and your time more than others, and where you have to start somewhere and not somewhere else. That would be a critical thing that you need to know as the young professionals joining the job market. And we'll see, and from your questions, we'll try to see how we can help each other. Finally, we may have to unpack some of the advantages and possibly the disadvantages of having a mentor in your life, because we are walking a long journey. The training we are doing today, by the way, is part of the mentorship, because we are equipping you with the relevant skills. We are trying we are trying to see how you can learn and also shape your life. So having said that, let's ask ourselves the first question. What is goal setting then? What are these two English words? One is a goal and another one is setting. And when you put them together, what do they mean? Before I can tell you what it is, can somebody please tell me what? It doesn't matter how you get it. The English is not the problem, but can someone tell me what he or she understands about goal setting and the importance of goal setting in life? Hapat Akor, are you in?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, my question is, can you tell us
Yes.
what you understand by goal setting, and what do you think is the significance of goal setting in your life?
Yes, now. Okay, let me respond. My name is Albert Ebe from Kenyatta University. So I would like to respond to this question. From my end, I understand as a human being, we are rational and we are in a free world where we are able to imagine, dream, and live the reality of our lives. So the desire we have, and we have different desires, and everyone will want to maximize or live to or arrive to their or materialize their desires. So the goal is that ambition you have towards something in your life. And so for you to reach to your goals, you must formulate your own standards or a plan so that will guide you through so that you can reach your goal or your objectives. And the importance of goal setting, it enables one to connect with the dream they had. It helps one to actualize what they in the beginning it was just an imagination, and now through goal setting it enables them to actualize, and now they are able to maximize their dream. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Very elaborate and very right and spot on. I've picked quite a number of things that really speak to the subject matter, like standards. Because our goal has to be a standard, and for you to get to that standard, it's like a milestone. So before you can say you have made progress, you really have to divide your journey into milestones. So in your struggle of getting to your destination, you only know the extent of your travel by knowing the key milestones. A journey from Mombasa or Nairobi to Mombasa definitely takes about 6 hours, or even takes 30 minutes, depending on how you fly or you walk. But the most important thing, you need to know the milestones. From Mlolongo to Mtito Andei, from Mtito Andei to Voi and other places, you already get starting to know how far you are from your goal. But of course, the goal is you need to get to Mombasa and attend a 2 days workshop on gender. So if that is the case, then your goal is attending that workshop. But for you to get to that goal, there are a number of things that you have to put in place. Of course, you have to prepare yourself. You have to find the best way and economical way to travel there. You have to be conscious of the time to get there. Otherwise, if you walk, you may get there when the workshop is closed. So that's where you make certain decisions. So basically, Herbert has been able to give us hints about what it is. Let's see what I have here. The definition I like is this one, which says, okay, yeah, fine. So it says goal setting is the process of thinking about your ideal future and for motivating yourself to turn your vision into a future reality. So the keywords there are thinking about your ideal future. In other words, you must have your ideal future, but then you need to motivate yourself, cultivate the spirit and the motivation to visualize your future and make it a reality. That is what we call goal setting. So the process of goal setting will of course help you to know what you want to do and achieve in life. In other words, it becomes the yardstick or there's unit of measure to know what kind of a life you want to lead in the near future. Of course, that is ceteris paribus. We are assuming all other factors constant because of there are other things like COVID, there are other things like, change of life, there are other things like catastrophes, there are other things like family changes. Of course, for the ladies and gentlemen, you may have families coming along your way, and all this, we assumed all that. Properly set goals. Properly set goals can incredibly motivate. And as you get into the habit of setting them and achieving them, you will find yourself having built some level of confidence in making the next decisions. So if you keep on making decisions and you find that you are getting it all wrong all the time, I think you'll be concerned and it can really ruin your motivation and your confidence in making future decisions. So if you want to inculcate this spirit of making the right decisions, you need to do them and ensure that they are done well, and you learn to have the habit of setting goals, whether they are small goals, short-term and long-term. At least try to have a life that is organized, a life that you know at least on the list. In a year, you know something that you want to achieve in a year, whether it is you graduating, whether it's you getting married or marrying, whether it's you getting your master's, or whether it's you getting a job, or whether it's you getting the next level of a job. That should be something like a goal, because by so doing, then you know the things you need to do for you to get the next job. If it's marrying, then you know the energy and the investment that you need to make for you to get the right partner, if I may use that. So I say by setting sharp, clearly defined goals, you can measure and take pride in the achievement of those goals. They say everybody is very happy when you do things and they happen and they succeed. But you get worried when all your decisions always go the wrong way. Even those who bet, by the way, I don't know how many of you bet. If you keep on betting and you lose, I don't know how you feel. But if you keep on betting and every 3 bets you make, you win, how does it make you feel? Although I'm not saying that I'm training guys to go betting, but I'm trying to use it as a means to explain the fact that when you succeed in making decisions or achieving certain small goals, it's a motivation for you to even aim higher. So what is important then at this point in time and at this juncture, everybody has the capacity, everybody has been blessed with all that is required to make, analyze, and of course, set goals. But then the question is, how do you unleash this power within yourself? How do you excel? How do you make sure that you take advantage and leverage on your existing potential to make what needs to be done and of course, live your dream? If you know that goals will help you keep focused on where you want to go, and of course, in your future, whether it's short-term or long-term, then that kind of a goal is what makes you live for the next day. I don't know how many of you are living without goals, or can somebody confirm he or she has no goal in life? Is there anybody who can raise his hand and say that? I can't see your hands, but I hope Richard is checking for me. If there is any hand up, you let me know, but I doubt. If it is there, we need to stop and take stock. All right. So we confirm that everybody at least has a goal. It doesn't matter how small, how big it is. The next slide, before I go there, I'll try to dig out some of your goals and we see whether we are synchronizing well and whether we are moving in the same direction. So as a goal is reached, as I said, you will find yourself getting motivated to set even higher goals. And that kind of confidence is what you need as a young professional. We want young professionals who are sure about themselves, who have an idea where they want to go in life, so that when you go for a job interview and you are asked the question, so John, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And you go blank. Or John, how is your future looking like? Or what are your plans or goals for the future? And then you go blank. But when you have this set in your mind, these are things that actually should just flow naturally without any problem. And like you really want to talk and you feel like you even have a roadmap to where you want to go. That is the kind of confidence that you need to ooze from your lives. Setting goals in the major areas of your life, including, I was trying to unpack some of the pillars and some of the considerations that you need to look at, or where you need to make certain decisions. I know making personal decisions is very important as a person. Remember, the goals are yours and not anybody else. But again, you've already made a career choice. I don't know what your career choice is, but I know majority of you have an idea where the career is headed. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a multimedia or a media journalist, all that, you've already made your mind. So that is in terms of making your career choice. So your career goal is set. But then there's also a financial goal. A financial goal, I look at it in two perspectives. A financial goal in terms of your financial freedom. In other words, what kind of a person do you want to be in the near future in terms of having what I call achieving your personal goals and your financial needs. So some people call it financial independence. At what point do you want to be financially independent in terms of financing yourself, carrying out your objectives, being your investments, if you have to pay dowry, if you have to invest in your cars, in your home, all that contributes to your financial decisions. By the way, what you said right now is almost 90% of what your level of success will be in the future. Because they say a long journey starts with one step, and by you starting to plan about your financial success and freedom now, then you have already making your success come closer to you. So the other side of financial is actually also making other major financial decisions, like what kind of a person do you want to be in terms of your growth, in terms of your, you know, financial qualifications, in terms of investing in skills, because financial management is at different levels. You can do financial management at the basic levels. You can do financial management to the level of actuarial science when you want to be an actuarialist. When you want to do research, there's a lot of information and financial information required there. There is forecasting and all that. So what kind of financial information do you think is enough for you? All of us don't need it. We do not need to be financial forecasters. We don't need to be, financial managers. We don't need to be accountants, all of us. But what level of financial information and knowledge do you think is relevant for you? Important. Educational is, of course, the same. What kind of education do you want to have for yourself, for your friends, and even for your children to be? And of course, where do you want to place yourself as one of the families that are considered educated or uneducated? Where do you want to be? It's a decision you have to make now. There are other things to do with physical environments and physical conditions that exist around you. You make choices because your physical environment, you can do something about it, like where you want to stay, how you want to change from your current physical conditions to the future and the dream of your life, your social status. Some people have drawn stratas where they belong. And as you grow up the ladder in your actualization in the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you really need to understand what you consider to be your social status. Do you consider yourself the poor of the poorest? Do you want to consider yourself the rich of the richest? Where do you put yourself, or what is your dream about your social status? Sometimes your social status now can define how much you invest in it so that you can change it in the future. So bottom line is you need to be smart and you set smart goals, which will require that you self-reflect. Self-reflecting means you look at yourself as in the mirror and see whether your goals are making sense, and you should keep on adjusting them, perfecting them, until you get to a point where you feel like you have smart goals that are measurable, achievable, realistic, and of course, time bound. So adjusting according to the environment is critical. Otherwise, you may not be relevant in the market, and the market is always dynamic and ever changing. So let me ask a question. And I need 2 gentlemen and 2 ladies to quickly share with us. If you don't raise your hands, I can choose you. But what I want to do is basically try to share and make this class participative and get to learn actually what has been your experiences in goal setting. So the question is, what kind of goals do you have as a person? So I want whoever comes up to tell me 3 goals in life. I know there are many, but I'm assuming you're giving me the best 3 goals. The best 3 goals, and any goal is good. There is no, can I say, we are not going to demean any goal. It's your opinion, it doesn't matter what it is, and we shall respect it. That is a commitment we do. So can 3 people or 4 people tell us what their future goals are and how they got to identify their goals? If you tell us that, it will help us try to unpack the whole business of unleashing the goal power. So I don't know who wants to go first. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, I can go first.
Say your name, please, and probably where you come from in terms of your university.
Okay, my name is Onda Caleb from Kenyatta University. Last class I came late, and I'm proud to have an opportunity to attend this class.
Right.
First of all, my goal is to create jobs for youth, or rather to create jobs. Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yes, I got you.
Okay, to create job and to give back to the community, because first of all, what has always driven my goal is the fact that the community has always been with me through my education. My high school, I was sponsored by KCB Bank. Currently, in university, I'm being taught by Cooperative Bank. And if not for the community having educated me, I hope and I know I could have been behind in a lot of ways. And I came to pursue recreation and sports management. And in recreation and sports management, I've started designing a project that will mainly target children and the youths. Because when you look at rural areas, back in my home at Asumbi, you find that there are some projects that have always started. Children have started playing football. They've started playing the local games that they play, but they are not taken seriously. But you see potential in that. For example, during the pandemic, last time when there was a lockdown, the kids around my area came together through sports, and even the border dispute that is between us and the Kisii, because Homa Bay is between Homa Bay, Asumbi is between Homa Bay County and Kisii County, and there's always been wrangles between those two counties. And we found that the kids from Kisii County came to interact with the kids from Luo County, and also there was peace that was struck between the two counties. And I saw potential in sports as a community project. And I want personally to start a community project, not only in town areas, but in rural areas, and also start the health programs, because due to research of corona pandemic and all the diseases that are being caused nowadays, mostly are lifestyle diseases. And due to my course, I'm doing calisthenics and weight training as a unit, and I've found potential in that, and it can really help the community. So I want to join everything in my course, in my career course, and bring it together and start a project that will bring employment to people, will bring a future to children, and also the profit that I will find around that, I'll also educate other children, because I've been freely educated until here. I want to also educate other children and give them a brighter future, because I believe that there is potential in everyone, and I want to give each and everyone equal opportunity in life, so that they can also explore their potential. I think that's what I can say for now.
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Caleb. I'm really glad that you've brought quite a number of many issues and you've tried to explain the how you got to the decisions. Of course, I got to understand that probably your love for serving the community, your volunteerism, and of course, you are giving back to the community has been influenced largely because of how what you have gone through, and you realize without that, if people did not come up, if the scholarships were not available for you, probably you'll be selling fish or something in Rongo, or selling groundnut somewhere in that your city or that place. I don't know how you call it. But because God has come through you and people have really invested in you, it has aroused in you a very important aspect in your life. And through that aspect that has been motivated in your life, you have made certain goals. Something I know they are ambitious, I have to tell you, they are very ambitious. There are no small goals by any standards. I actually see a lot of selflessness. I see a lot about others and not about you. By the time you get to think about others, I want to believe by that time, by the time you want to create jobs for the youth, you already will be having your own job. In other words, your goal is actually has been superseded by the bigger picture, which is you getting your job first, getting to invest in yourself, and of course, making savings to realize your dream of serving the community or giving back to the society. That is good, and I love that. So maybe we can get two more before we change tack. If we save on time, I'll really appreciate so that we can take some depth in what we are discussing today. Anybody else? Just unmute yourself and go live. Hello? Bridget, can you see any hand up?
No hand up.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please tell us your name and where you come from. Please go ahead. Hello?
Hi, my name is Perpetual Mashua. Just a recent graduate from JKUAT. I'll share my financial goal. Hi.
Yes, we are listening loud. We can get you loud and clear.
I'd like to share my financial goals. One is to become financially stable, and with that goal in mind, I have broken it down into how I'm going to ensure that I achieve that goal.
If I grant you the opportunity to tell us about 3 stepping stones to your financial stable life.
Right.
Perpetua, you got my question?
No, I was disconnected for a minute.
Sorry.
You kindly repeat?
Yes, I'm kind enough to do so. I was saying you've made it clear to us that your dream is to be financially stable, and you mentioned to us that that is the biggest goal, but you've got a number of goals leading to that. So I was asking, what are these stepping stones to financial stability?
Oh yes. So financial stability is like one of the goals I want to achieve.
We've lost Perpetua again.
Sorry. How I'm planning to achieve them. is by one, ensuring that I am seeking information on financial matters, about again looking for opportunities that are going to help me become financially stable, like a stable job, looking for doing businesses, opportunities for investment and such. Yeah.
Thank you, Perpetua. That is good enough. It makes emphasizes the point that we want to make here. That you've made it clear that one of your dreams is to be financially stable, and this is what they call financial independence from personal management. So basically, what you are doing is to ensure that you are financially independent. In other words, you can make financial decisions on your own, and they can be sound and they can take you to the next level. It's at that point then you say that until you are financially independent and you are depending on people, some decisions you may not make. In terms of investment, you may not scan for opportunities. If you are relying on your father's money or your brother's money or a bank's money, you may not do that. But until you get to that financial independence level, then you can do certain things, which is very right. And we now understand the concept of making the bigger goals, and of course, creating the facilitative goals for you to achieve your bigger dream. All decision-making processes are just like this. Maybe the last person to tell us, have you ever failed to achieve goals? Which one and why? Have you ever failed to achieve goals? The goals could be very simple, like passing an exam, could be like you wanted to get married and it didn't work. You wanted a certain grade in a career, you didn't get it. You wanted to get a certain job, you didn't get it. That's still a goal. So from that perspective, can somebody tell us what kind of goals have collapsed or have not worked and why? If we get that perspective, then we can quickly move to the next slide.
I don't know if mine is appropriate, but I can try.
Everything you say is appropriate in this class.
No, yeah, as in terms of a personal way. Maybe
Okay.
it's putting myself out there. Anyway, so I think for me is okay. My first degree was in civil engineering, and being a lady, that is a big thing. Yeah. Considering the fact that there are not so many women, but just because there are opportunities out there for you, sometimes it doesn't mean it is right for you. So I don't know how to explain it. Basically, that path for me did not work out. And oh, this is Rhoda. Hi, Waidera. From USIU.
Sorry, post your name on the chat box.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Waidera. This is Rhoda from
Hi.
USIU.
Right.
So I was going to answer the first question that was asked. What are your goals? So I'm a parent, and my daughter had a neonatal stroke, which led her to having hemiplegia. So that changed the whole course of my life as a result, which is a great. We take things as they are, and that has led me to the goal that we were going to talk about in the previous statement that Mr. George did ask, which is for me now, my personal goal is to be able to create an organization that will provide free or affordable therapies for families living with disabilities or individuals living with disabilities, simply because I know firsthand how therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, any form of therapy is very expensive, and it is crucial to anyone who lives with disability. So yeah, the failure led to, not necessarily a failure, I don't know how to call it. Sometimes I think of it this way, sometimes God like closes a window for you to open a door. So yeah, I don't know if that made sense.
It makes a huge and a lot of sense, because it is a master plan about the number of things that we wanted to explore in terms of how sometimes there could be a disconnect between your goals and the eventual goals that you make. Certain things can happen along the journey that can change your goals forever. As a civil engineer, you never thought about thinking of therapy. I thought maybe you were doing you'll be doing a multipurpose hall somewhere in your home or something like that. But did you see how different is it from your career? Can you see the diversity?
It is, yes, it's very different. But also looking back at it, at my life, I think like it is the course that maybe probably God created for me. Because even when I was younger, I never thought of myself to be a doctor, but probably I thought I would be able to build a hospital. But now I'm studying psychology. So just because we are passionate about things does not make us knowledgeable, and we should pursue knowledge in every way.
Thank you. You're oozing with experience.
Oh, thank you.
So having said that, I think this is the kind of experience we want to use so that we are a bit realistic in some of the goals we are going to set, and we make some of us understand the difficulties and the challenges of making goals and why some goals do not work, how sometimes you miss the point. It doesn't matter how many times you fall, as I say, but it matters a lot how many times you wake up. Because if you do not wake up, then your history and your dream dies. So I think this is the march I wanted to go to push this DNA in your life and make you appreciate why it is important to make certain decisions and how this decision-making process can be exciting and sometimes confusing if you are not serious and you are not keen about it. So having said that, I think unless there is a burning question, I'll move to the next level. And now I want us to go deeper to understand how you set personal goals. And I'll want to use a simple explanation and some few targets.
George,
Yes?
George, excuse me, please. I still need the lady who spoke,
Yes.
to message me with her name. Please.
I hope she has done it and she has gotten it.
I have.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Maybe Jen has a present for you. You never know. It's good to give it. All right. So we are moving to the next level, and I hope we are progressing well. If I'm moving with speed, please, I'm at your service, and you can always interject and you can always let me know and make me more useful to you. So in terms of setting personal goals, let's use this simple process. The first step in setting your personal goals is definitely to consider what you want to achieve in your lifetime, or by at least say 10, 5, or any other time that you feel is comfortable for you. In other words, it's setting the outer boundaries of your life. Once you know your outer boundaries, I know the outer boundaries are set by the prevailing circumstances, the experience you have had in life, the knowledge you have acquired over time, and this is what you translate into your future goals. So you really need to ensure that they're long enough so that you can now do the longer one before you do the shorter goals. Many people do short goals to build the longer goals, but for me, I do the longer goal and then I see what takes me to what I want to be. If I want to be a lawyer, then of course certain things have to happen. I have to go to a law school, or I have to go to the first law degree. From there, I have to go to the law school. From there, maybe you have to go to Kenya School of Law for your, what do you call it? Is it a pupillage or whatever you call it? After that, then you go to practicing, then you can be admitted into the bar and other things. Of course, that's a process. You need to know that for me to be a lawyer, it takes all that. You cannot say you want to be a lawyer and you have no clue what it takes to be what you want to be, if I may use that analogy. So what I mean is, one convenient way of creating your goal is to ensure that you have your list of goals that you need to do, and then you fill the blanks. For example, what I do normally, I ask myself, what do I want to be, especially in the near future? Again, God gives us capabilities, and you can project in 5 years. Some can have confidence they can project for 70 years to come. Some are afraid to project even for 1 year. That is not for me to say, but at least can you see your future as far as it can go? So you ask yourself, what do you want to be? For the gentleman who spoke to us, Ohunda, from Caleb, he says because of the community in which the surroundings and the circumstances under which he has acquired his undergraduate and the training he's undergoing right now, he's made certain decisions because he wants to He wants to be a role model in the community, and he wants to give back to the community. So that's what he wants to be in the future. So the question is, you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be? If you can surely get to know what you want to be, then that is the first step. If you check around and you can't find what you want to be, you can call me, I can help you. If you scan and you can't see anything, all you see is darkness, I'm ready for prayers, because then you need prayers. Then number two, what do you want to do? Now that you know what you want to be, what does it take for you to be where you want to be? I use the analogy of wanting to be a lawyer and what it takes to be there. So that's what you want to do in terms of facilitating your goal, and of course, building the stepping stones to achieve your final goal. For you to be financially independent and stable, definitely you have to do certain things right. You've got to know and inculcate the culture of savings first. You also need to infuse with the culture of investment. And from the investment, you also need to have good financial management to ensure that your investments grow. And from the returns of your investment, you need to calculate where you need to get better returns on your investment for you to turn around quickly and get a faster payback period. By so doing, then you are able to understand, because it makes you understand what you need to do to be financially independent in the near future. Then you ask yourself, for me to be that financially independent, for me to do all these things, what do I need to have? Definitely, for you to be a good financially independent, you need to have technical skills. You need to have employability skills. You need to know how to search for a good job. You need to know how to maintain a good job when you finally get it. You need to know how to negotiate for reasonable accommodation, whether you are physically challenged or not, whether you are able differently, whether you are a gender, you are of another gender. All that put into together, you really need to understand what you have and what you need to have. In other words, you need to have the technical skills. You need to have a mentor probably, if you have to. You also may need to borrow sometimes, get resources from others. You may need to enroll into some programs like the ones the gentleman was talking about in football and other extracurricular activities that will get you where you want to get. That's what it means. What do you want to have? Once you know what you want to have to get to do what you need to do to be what you want to be, then you ask yourself, for me to have this, what you want to give. So once you want to be what you want to be, and you have done what you need to do, and you have gotten what you need to have, then what you need to give. The gentleman was able to tell us that he wants to give back to the community. Yes, the last class, somebody said she wanted to inspire before she expires. In other words, he really wanted to change somebody's life during her lifetime. So that will require that then she does something to be a pillar, to be a role model before you can change somebody. So she was working on herself seriously and ensuring that at least before she retires, she's able to transform and at least change somebody's life, which is a good thing, and it's a goal. It's also a goal. Finally, I have also learned that you can do these things in a reverse gear. The same things, but now done in a reverse gear. You can also use it from a negative side. Instead of looking at it from a positivity side, you can look at it from a reverse side. So you look at what you don't want to be. If you grew up in a poor family where you were scrambling for one blanket, the three of you, and sometimes even getting a good mattress to sleep on was an issue, or getting 3 meals in a day was a challenge, then you start from there. I don't want to be in the poverty in which I grew up. So what do I need to do so that I can break away from the poverty cycle? What do I need to do to ensure that the financial challenges that we have had as a family is something that I can run away from? Then from there, you ask yourself, what do I need to do so that I can change this scenario so that I can create wealth for myself and for my family? Then what do I need to have for this to happen? Of course, you require skills. As I said, you'll have to know mentors who can help you do that. You have to go to a good school. You've got to choose a good career that can help you do what you need to do. And all these things put together, then you can see what you need to give back to the society. So the reverse gear is also allowed. I am okay with either way you do it. The bottom line is you are able to visualize where you want to be, what you want to do, how you want to, what you want to have for you to do what you need to do, and of course, give back what you need to give. That is the bottom line. So achieving short-term and long-term goals is like climbing a ladder, and a ladder, of course, starts from the lowest step to the highest. And again, sometimes you may need to be chronological in a manner. If you skip the ladders, you may fall down. And you know, falling down will require a lot of energy again to start climbing up the ladder. It may even break. So you may have no ladder to climb in the next stage. So secondly, goals need to be put into writing. I don't know how many of you have put your goals into writing, or all of them are in your head. I don't know how you keep your goals. Where are they written? Are they in your books? Are they in your head? Are they with your lecturers? Are they with your mother, your father, your mentor? Where are they? It's a question of fact, but you could ask yourself and answer yourself. Goals are set at different levels. I've already mentioned that. And the first level is to create your bigger picture, which you have said, what you want to do and your life, and of course, decide what large scale goals you want to achieve. So once you have had the bigger goals, then you can break it down into smaller goals. And of course, the smaller goals and smaller targets build as the stepping stone to the bigger goals. That is, I know there are other ways of doing this. If you go to business management, there are other ways of doing this, but you're free to research, and all of them boil down to the same principle. So how do you hang your goals with pegs, or how do you set your personal goals? To give a broad coverage of all important areas in your life, you really have to identify the pillars of your life. In other words, for you to set goals, you really need to understand where it pains, where the challenge is in the society, what part of life that you really feel like you need to change, what kind of financial independence you want to have, what social status you want to be in life, what kind of public service do you want to provide. So I have given this, but this is not limited to this. Number one for me is your attitude. Before you can choose your career and all that, number one is really to work on your attitude so that you can inculcate a good attitude, an attitude that appreciates others, an attitude that realizes that challenges are always along the way, and you never give up attitude, an attitude that is willing to listen to others, wisdom, differentiate and discern from knowledge and wisdom, and of course, unnecessary stuff. That is very important. Once you do that, I know majority of you in terms of career you are set. If by now you have not figured out what your career is going to look like, then I think we need another session for that. But I want to assume, and I hope my assumption is valid, that in terms of setting career objectives, we are done. Then the other thing is about the education. What I mean by education is the level of skills and the knowledge you want to have in order for you to be the best in that career you want to be. If you want to be a teacher, then you can, of course, you can choose to be at the lower level, being an ECCD teacher, or being a law school teacher, a graduate teacher, a lecturer, a philosopher, whatever you want to be. So it sets your standard in terms of what kind of education you want to possess and how you want to utilize it in your goals. Of course, family is a very important aspect in goal setting. It always has to cut across, because if you talk about 10 years, I know majority of you in the next 10 years, you'll be having your families. I don't know how big or small they will be, but at least everybody, if not all, or some of you are already in family life, it's going to be a critical element to think about. When Lucy was teaching you Maura, she mentioned about work-life balance. That was deliberate, so that you don't do things until you forget about your family. You really need to have a work-life balance that ensures that you have time for your family, even as you struggle to achieve your goals. A family is part of your goals. So if the family is missing in the goal setup, then there is another problem that you really need to address. Of course, majority have talked about financial independence. I mentioned about your physical environment and all that, but there is also something called pleasure. By the time you start talking about pleasure, my friend, you've really chewed a lot of dust. You've really tried and struggled. I am sure pleasure does not just come like bread you buy from the shop. Before you get that pleasure, you really need to invest emotionally, invest in terms of resources, work for it, so that at least you can enjoy a good life, you can live in a good place, you can have a good family, you can buy a good car and all that. For you to enjoy that pleasure, it's of course a goal you can set, that I really want to live a better life than the one I am living now. So the pleasure you want to have in future is a function or is an element that you have to work around now. And of course, I'm glad that the majority of you are already talking about public service, to the extent that you are being selfless about yourself and you are thinking more of the community than yourself. So that is the element of public service. Lucy was able to tell you why it is important to volunteer, why it is important for you to get internships, why it's important for you actually to offer yourself sometimes for free. Because by you doing that, you are able to expose yourself to the public service life, to the ethical standards and the work environment. And by so doing, you build your capacity and your higher ability becomes a reality. So all these actual goals you need to set. And I've mentioned just but a few areas that you really have to focus on. But remember, the list is not limited. You can add a few. So how to set goals? We've said that. So there could be long-term goals and also there could be short-term goals. Let's start with the long-term goals. Long-term goals are reached within a time frame of say 5 to 10 years. Anything that is below that is considered short-term. So the long-terms have to hit 5 to 10, sometimes 4, but from a yardstick perspective, look at a 5-year lifespan to 10 years. If you do that, then you are able to have a better vision and you are unlikely to change many times. If you keep on setting a yearly target, then you really have to work on your goals so many times and the iterations you make may discourage you. So setting long-term goals, obviously will start by you thinking about what you want to accomplish, the same process we have gone through. And once you do that, then you figure out how you want to achieve that. The major problem around this area is actually identifying your priorities or your priority goals. When you have so many goals, chasing a few resources, you need to be smart for you to identify where your life, what inches on your life, what is really the pillar of your life. Is it pleasure? Is it attitude? Is it your financial independence? Is it your family? It's you to decide. But again, you need to be smart to ensure that you invest in the priority goals rather than investing a lot of resources in goals that actually are not necessarily realistic and a priority in your life. From your list of accomplishments, you need to choose the items you value most, and from the evaluation you give, then you are able to choose your priorities. Remember, you need to keep your goals realistic, attainable. We have already said that. On the other hand, short-term goals can be reached within a year's time, 2 years, or sometimes even 6 months. It depends on what kind of a goal you are setting. The idea is they are within a very short time span, and they are supposed to be achieved within a very short time. You cannot build a library or you cannot build a civil engineering lab in 6 years or even in 1 year. Chances of doing that are very remote. But you can actually graduate, you can get a spouse, you can be financially independent, depending on how you do your arithmetics and how you invest, you can achieve some of these things. So short-term goals then are those ones that you are able to achieve within a short time of period. Sometimes some people call them objectives. In project management, we have objectives, outputs, and of course, indicators of getting where you want to get. So this is what you could call the equivalent of objectives. The things you want to see in your life. Maybe you want to be financially independent, you want to have a good family, you want to help or give back to the community, just as they gave to you, or you want to get a good job, or you want to support your siblings. All those are objectives that you will have to set. So you need to realize that these are the things that actually support the bigger objectives of you being financially independent and of course, supporting and giving back to the community. I keep on saying you keep them realistic, achievable, measurable, and important to you. That is the bottom line. So I want us to shortly discuss this in a plenary. Why is it important to own a goal? If I may quickly ask, somebody can actually either raise his hand or unmute himself or herself to tell me what is really owning the goal, or why is it important for you to own a goal? In terms of saving time, please.
Yes.
Go ahead, your
okay,
name.
are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, this is Magak David, banking and finance finalist student from JKUAT. Now, concerning the issue of owning a goal, I can say that one needs to own a goal because it is the goal, his goal, that will keep him or her to be on track on what they are supposed to achieve and the direction in which they are supposed to work on this in their journey in life. Because when you compare someone who owns a goal and someone who doesn't own a goal, the two cannot ride on in one boat. You find that the one that owns a goal is more focused. He is determined in life. He knows how to articulate his actions and his agenda, other than the one that has no any goal. Therefore, owning a goal will enable someone to be focused in life, to have concentration in life, and eventually make him or her reach at the destination in which he intended to be. Thank you.
Thank you, David. You are spot on in terms of what you have said. And I'm glad that you have been able to put it in that kind of perspective, because it really expounds on what owning a goal is all about. So the bottom line is we all need to own our goals. Remember, the goal you have is not somebody's goal. It's not your father's goal. It's not your boyfriend or girlfriend's goal. It's not anybody's goal but your goal. The moment you know this is my goal, then you can invest in it. Otherwise, why do you want to invest in people's goals? How do you know which is your goal if you keep on investing in other people's goals? How do you know you are veering off the road if you have no idea what your goal is? So by you owning it, it means this is mine and I have to put money to it and I have to realize it. And then of course that brings the confidence and understanding in a very clear way, and then you can focus on it. That is all about owning a goal. I am happy it has gone in well. But what about controlling the goal? Having known it is your goal and all that, what does it take to control your goal? Because you can veer off the road. You can lose the focus and you can actually find yourself doing other people's or pursuing other people's goals. How do you then control your goal, your dream? How do you live your dream, if I may ask?
I can try.
Please do.
I'm Tiffany Obai. I study pharmacy at USIU. So controlling a goal would entail basically controlling something means that you understand every aspect of what it is and where you want it to go. So if you're controlling your goal, then you have broken it down into objectives. You know, you have set targets and you have markers to show that you're moving in the right direction so that you are able to achieve the goal. So I think controlling a goal is setting up a time frame, setting up objectives, setting up markers that show you that you have succeeded and you can move to the next step in order to achieve the goal that you had set in the particular time you set it. So to control a goal means to understand it and to break it down into achievable components. Thank you.
Tiffany, thank you. Thank you a million for that.
Seems we've lost George a minute, but he will be back.
Joseph, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can get you loud and clear.
Sorry for that. I think I lost you momentarily. Can you see my screen?
The screen is not yet up.
me go back and see whether I can put it on again. Sorry for that. When it's up, you alert me, please.
It's now up.
Okay. Let me try to make it bigger. I believe it's okay now.
Yes.
Good, thank you for that. We were where were we? We were setting, controlling. So we were able to control our goal, and I was explaining using the car to explain how you control your goal. So the car, if you're driving it, it's you to decide what kind of fuel you want to use, where you want to fuel. If you want to fuel anywhere, including those funny places, then you can get the wrong fuel and you can spoil your engine. Alternatively, if you want to give your car to everybody who wants to practice, then you may not have a car in the second place. So those are the things that actually help you control your goal, because if you do not instill discipline in what you want to achieve, because it's a long-term objective, it is costly, it's expensive, it is time-consuming, it's an investment, then you end up wasting a lot of resources, and of course you will take longer, and your turnaround time will be longer. That's why the discipline of controlling your goal is extremely important. Just like it is to set timeframes for the goal. Again, you cannot have a moving target. You cannot have a goal that you never reach. You cannot have a goal that is asymptotic to the horizontal axis. For those who have done mathematics, the goal has to at least converge somewhere, and you cannot have an infinite goal. It has to, at least to have a lifetime within which you have to plan yourself and achieve it. Additionally, controlling the goal, you need to have the right information when creating goals. Know what resources and constraints you may have to face. You need to be flexible and maintain a realistic environment to ensure that you are able to flex accordingly. Of course, setting a time makes goals measurable and achievable. It allows you to know when you have reached your goal and when you have not reached. Importantly, you need to stay positive and use every detail once you have documented your goals to ensure that you remain focused and you enhance your chances of succeeding in your goals, without which then your percentage of completion and success will be managed. Now, my last bit of it is to throw it back to you and take another very important aspect before I throw the floor back to you for questions and comments from your end. How do you stay on track? Finally, when you have your goals, you have set your goals, you are up and ready to start the journey. How do you ensure that you remain on track? You don't veer off the road, you control your goals, and you actually never lose sight of your goal. What do you do? One of the things you have to decide is once you have decided about your goals and your plans, you need to keep the process going by reviewing it and updating your to-do list on a daily basis. I don't know how you do it from your end. Those who have done goals, I don't know whether you are doing them on a daily basis, you sleep every night. I don't know how many times do you dream. Do you dream a dream once? Do you also have problems like me when I have a big thing coming up? I suffer from anxiety. I have a graduation coming up. I have a wedding coming up and I have butterflies in my stomach. I can't even sleep. Do you have similar challenges? So how do you ensure that you keep continuously improving and adjusting every day? That's what we call continuous evaluation of your progress. In project management, we call it monitoring and evaluation of your progress. So in life too, you really need to constantly evaluate your progress. As I said, the long journey from Nairobi to Mombasa, you've got to be clear about the milestone that will tell you that you are in the right track. Without which, you may veer off the road from Emali to Loitoktok and you still believe you're headed to Mombasa, only to find yourself in Kilimanjaro on your way to Arusha. By the time you start coming back, I don't know whether you'll have the money and the time, and maybe if it's a training, it will be already gone. So never lose your sight of your goal. We said something earlier on how to maintain focus on your goal to ensure that it's something that you give priority and you ensure that it's written down. And of course, you get the right mentorship and the right skills that you build and invest in it. Do not procrastinate. Rather, remember the motto that I copied from somewhere, that the road to someday leads to the town of nowhere. If this is what you want, then at least be aware of this, because someday is today. Finally, you really need to ought to have your key goals in front of you on a regular basis. If you know what your priorities are in life, then I think these are the first things you want to see on your desk every morning, because everything you do, every step you make is towards achieving those long objectives. So you need to make them visible. You need to leave them. You need to, if you have to cram, you cram them. But most importantly, you always need to oscillate around them. Ensure that every decision you make, you reflect against them. Does it help you to get to your goal? Yes or no? If no, drop. If yes, you move on. That's why in decision making, you have so many decision nodes from one point to another, which helps you to know the direction of movement and how to respond to stimuli. So next time we meet, we'll be seeing how to create a life plan and what a life plan is all about and how you balance all that. So before we do that, I think for today, we are basically introducing the concept of setting up goals and try to have an experience around what you have had in your lives. Some of the decisions you have made and some have succeeded and others goals have not worked, so that all of us can at least get this concept right. Why it's important to set our goals and what is the take home from this whole 1.5 hour session. So I thank you so much for listening to me and now open the floor for questions. And
I wish to speak. George.
Yes, please.
Yes, and I'm saying, and I wish to speak.
I am happily allowing you to do so, please.
Thank you. So thank you guys for such an interactive session. I think today was very nice and deep and exciting. Thank you also for sharing your experiences, your personal stories. I think this is what keeps this program going. So one announcement that I know you all are aware of is that our tomorrow career session was rescheduled to June 18th because tomorrow is Eid and we are wishing all our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy season. And I hope I can get some invites for Pilau and others. I am in Nairobi. So anyone in this area of Nairobi can reach out to me for Pilau. I know you people, you will be very generous with the food stuff. Then I had another announcement in regards to, remember in the beginning, we had asked you to upload your CV as it was. Then Lucy and Rose have taken you through very great, even George, like very great sessions. And I am sure with the reflections from the learnings, we all are able to improve on our resumes. So my request is that if we are able to update our resumes based on the learnings that we have had, and if you have any specific need for support in terms of resume, please message your questions to the employable@inbusiness.com email, the one that sends you emails, so that we can put all the questions together. And we are going to organize an extra class with Lucy to support those that need support in their resume. But you must submit your questions beforehand. Otherwise, let's have all our revised resumes by next week. We'll start providing a link on where we can all upload them. Take note, your new resumes are the ones you're going to use to place you for internships and job shadowing opportunities. I think that is the end of my announcement. I throw the ball back to Kagonda. And just in case anyone is inviting me for Eid, please talk to me in private. Thank you.
Jane, na hii pilau si unaipenda sana?
Yes, I am just hoping somebody does invite me. And if not, they can send Glovo or Uber Eats to my destination to bring the food.
Okay.
I'm a foodie.
Funny how Jane is
enjoy it.
The session back to me, but in terms of food, he's not mentioning me anywhere. It's okay. Waidera, your hand is up.
It was my Waidera hand. Now
It was your Waidera. Okay. Now, then, yeah, you know, we have your namesake here. Evelyn Akelo, your hand is up.
Hello.
Yes, Evelyn.
I wish to comment. I was
Please go
listening
on.
to some training of PACE International, and one of the colleagues gave us some new method of setting goals. I just wish to share, and she abbreviate them to clear. And he said, foresee that your goals should be collaborative, that you get insight from people but don't lose your interest. And then your goal should be limited, that with you space them each span of time, and then you have a goal that is immorted. Your interest must be in your goal, and then your goal should be attainable, and then refinable is a goal that is flexible, that you can refine it. That's what I wish to share.
Thank you so much. I totally agree with you. Yesterday has been looking for a man who is looking like Denzel Washington. And I told her, are you sure this is the ambition you want to have? Because I only know one of Denzel Washington's, only one person. And I don't know how many of you can get to that level. So what have you done yourself to get to that level? And I advise that if she's not careful, she may have to wait for a very long time. Anyway, that's just for purposes of emphasizing that point.
And just to add, and the goal should be appreciable. As in, if your goals are too big, let me say not too big, but let me say big, ambitious. You break them. Yeah, you break them in the larger goals into smaller tasks that will make you reach at where you want.
I agree with you 100%. That's the way to go. Joseph, do you see any hand?
Oleso Kisia? Oleso Kisia?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, if we find that some people are like, we have trouble working with goals. Okay, like I must say, for example, me, I have trouble with working with goals. Like each and every time I set a goal, I always find myself that I'm doing the opposite of whatever the goal I set. Like I don't usually follow my goals and plans. Like yeah, I usually do something else. Like if I set a goal like to maybe like for example, at the end of the week I need to achieve this, I might find that I do something else, or maybe like yes, I might do something else. So my question is like, what advice can you give to a person who doesn't work with goals? Like I find like for me, like I find myself I'm more productive when I don't work with goals. Just like when I do like the random things, like I do it when I have remembered them or something like that. Yeah, that I find myself more productive that way to working with goals. So what advice can you give to a person like me?
I am not sure I got your name and even your question right, but I want to imagine that you are trying to say that sometimes you may not be able to live to the goals, or many a times you find yourself not achieving the goals you set, and I am sure it can be disappointing at times. First, did I get your question right? It's about you not being able to set goals, or sometimes not even having goals altogether. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know whether I should throw it to the floor before I can prevail on it. But I think essentially the cardinal principle is that if you realize that you're having difficulties in setting up your goals, you really need to first go back to the process of setting those goals. And again, if you are not able to identify your long-term goals, then you'll struggle with your short-term goals. Because if you don't know even when you, let me use this, and excuse me for using it many times. If you don't know when you are ready for marriage, and you wake up in the morning and you say, tomorrow I want to get married, there are chances that by the end of the day, you may change that idea because you may have discovered that actually there is something you need to do. What I want to say is sometimes if you are not clear about your future goals, setting even the short-term goals will become a challenge, because short-term goals sometimes, unless they are focusing on the long, I mean, short-term, if unless focusing on long-term, can actually be misleading, because you may also find a lot of time you have invested in goals that you really are not interested in. So the cardinal principle is, I believe everybody must have a goal, where you wake up every morning and where you go to school, because that is what I want to believe. Everybody must have a goal. It doesn't matter how small or big it is, but at least you want to be somebody better than you were in your life. If you led a poor life, you really hope that you'll have a better life moving forward. If you have been struggling with finances, I believe you, regardless of what goal you have set, you believe one day you'll be financially independent. If you are yet to have a family, I think you must have a goal that in future you may have a family of any sort that you want to have. So I want to dispel the fact that you are saying that you may have no goals. So there are goals. The problem is how to identify your goals. And of course, there are many goals. What we said is you need to find the tools that will help you analyze and prioritize the goals that you think are going to hit your life faster. I think you really need to understand where your success lies, because by understanding where your success lies, then you're able to invest in the right places and in the right goals. For me, that's what I want to advise you. But I am sure I have not hit the code 100%, but I think the little words I've put together can help you figure out why you are not succeeding in your goals. And maybe you can try doing long, then doing short. And once you are long and you have a few shorts, try to focus on them, follow the instructions I've given you today, and come back to me and say what difference it makes in your life. If you need, we can work together as a journey. I'm willing to mentor you.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Just to add, the problem of us sometimes not reaching our goals is we set our goals, but we don't know exactly what is our interest. You know, when you are interested in what you want, you are much focused than if you do something because you think I can reach this one, but not that you are interested in it. So you get some of us, we set goals, but we don't know where is our interest exactly. So in Africa Mali, you deviate, you take another path different from what you set, and you think you are just okay. This was not meant for you, but the challenge is you never knew where your interest was.
You are very right, and that's wisdom. My addition is that if you realize that you keep on changing your long-term goals, there is a problem. Especially when you drop a long-term goal, then there's a problem in terms of how you set your goals. What I expect is that the long-term goals will remain the same. Your idea of becoming financially independent should not change along the way and you decide to go back to poverty again. I don't expect that to be the turnaround. But what will change is the process of getting your financial independence. That could change. It will change because there could be circumstances along the way, like the market may have changed. When we are going to universities, you have realized sometimes the higher education board can change, or the university board can change the lower marks or the minimum grades to go to university or to do certain courses. So if that happens to you and you realize that the course you wanted, you may not do it, it does not kill the dream, but it requires that you adjust to find another alternative to get to the goal that you had set. As an example. Number two, if you really wanted to be a good investor and you really wanted to have real estate, or like the gentleman who said he wants to do an education center somewhere, and you realize that the education center is becoming a pipe dream, what you need to do is really not to kill the dream, but to see you may not do the center, but you may play a critical role through mobilization, through setting up the agenda or getting people together, or setting up a team that will help you, even if you don't do it, that can do it in your lifetime. So when you find that the goals you have set are somehow getting ambitious, the idea is to make them realistic. a decision you made 10 years ago, as you get closer to the 10th year, certain things start becoming clear. There are things you may realize that you have already missed some milestones and your goal is not realistic anymore. That's why you really need to live your goals every day so that you are able to notice when you need an adjustment, when you need an expansion, when you need scaling, upscaling, or downscaling to ensure that you have a better focus and, of course, greater chances to succeed in achieving it in your life. So today, that's the DNA we really wanted to plant in you. The fact that you can be able to identify your right goals, the fact that you can be able to focus on them consistently over time, and monitor the milestones to take you where you want to be without losing focus. And of course, ensuring that you live your dream and you control your goal. That's what is important. One or two more questions and then we close.
Hello.
Yes, please. What's your name?
I'm Wafula Tobias. Hello.
Yes, Wafula.
Yeah, I have a comment. I don't have a question.
Yes.
I am a student from KU. I am a 4th year.
Yes.
One of the major challenge that us, let me call it the Z generation or the Z generation, is we normally make decisions based on what we have been told or what we have been taught by others, without considering what we really want in life. And then in goal setting, I remember in my high school when from Form 1 to Form 4, we were always told to set goals, target for every subject. So if you normally score, for example, let me use mathematics, that if you normally score mathematics 70, maybe that is the highest mark you normally get, and you normally oscillate between 60 and 70, then you cannot set your goal that you want to get
100,
69, or you want to get 100. Your goal must lie in between 70 to 80 there, because that one is manageable. Getting from 70 to 85 is possible.
That's a confidence interval.
Yes, then a person who says that, I think there is a friend of mine, I don't remember the name, said that they normally find a way of, they veer away from they don't follow their goals. I believe maybe one of the challenge might be that the fella, they set goals out of either emotions or out of what others perceive them, how they look. So same, wes unaweza imba. So you can start like, sinaweza anza music studio. Then you start a music studio within a short period of time, you have the studio has already been shut down or has been closed. So you find that today you have another goal, tomorrow you have another goal. At the end of the day, you even don't know where you're heading to. Thank you.
And sometimes you don't know the connection between your first goal and the other one. Sometimes there is not even a link.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is extremely important. Umeongea kama wazee watatu, because that is oozing knowledge. So Tobias, I like what you said, but I also want to caution something, and this is especially to the young youth. There is a problem. There is a problem of being very impatient. In generation ile ya pesa pap, petika pap. Come on, food you want microwave style, everything you just want it there and then. So we really need to work on our lives to ensure that we are patient enough to discover what is good for us. And regardless of how long it takes to get it, we be patient enough to wait and, of course, weed it around it to ensure that actually we get what we want. But the idea of wanting everything coming that same, like SMS, my friends, I guarantee you this is not going to happen in the current world we live. This is a world where we need patient gentlemen, guys who are willing to listen to others, guys who are good, who are focused on their goals and who have an idea what their goal is. Not guys who copycat, just like the Mwakenya in exams, those who do that. You really want to ensure that the course, you invest in the course that you have chosen, you invest in the goals that you have decided. Otherwise, if you don't invest, who shall invest for you? So for me, that is the caution that I want to add over and above what you have agreed, that we really need to be patient, a very patient generation, a generation that is willing to listen to others, follow wisdom and caution where necessary. And again, really, pride is really something that has brought us, many of us, down. And they say pride comes before a fall. So really, you really don't have to be what others are, because you don't know how their DNA and how some fathers have been investing for a very long time. So having a Ferrari for your son is really an easy thing, but for somebody it's a fortune. It's like a lifetime investment and sacrifice. So really, you really need to be realistic about what you can do within your powers. And of course, don't really have to push yourself until you die, because you really want to achieve what others can achieve in 3 days, and you blame yourself for not achieving. I think my point is home. So it is now 20 minutes to 8 o'clock. Unless somebody has a burning question, it's my wish to thank you all for taking your time to join this session. And of course, if you have any burning question that you really want to engage me, let me have it and I'll find a way of sending it back to you. Again, it was my pleasure having you on board, and I hope this journey we've started today will make you a different person altogether, and actually we'll make use of it even as we go to the job market. So we'll tell Lucy, Jane, that we are now ready for the job shadowing. We are now ready for the job market. We have our resumes ready. We have our goals right. Let's move on. That is my wish. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Okay, thank you, George, for that session. Before we go, I know the numbers have decreased. People have left the class, I think, due to time. But before we go, maybe we can do one sign to wish our brothers and sisters from the Muslim community a happy Eid al-Fitr. Byron,
Cheza kama
over to
wewe.
you.
Byron acheze kama yeye, sio?
Yes, and I hope with this signing I get food.
No, I asked for it. So we'll be getting the food.
So it's happy. Happy.
Is that a dove flying?
Happy.
Yeah, we can turn our cameras on.
Yes.
Idul Fitri or Mubarak.
Or Mubarak.
Okay. Happy Idul
Fitri.
Yeah. Okay. Or happy Idul Mubarak.
Good.
Thank you. Hope now everyone tomorrow, if you find someone.
Evelyn, what are you doing? Evelyn is behaving like she's fighting somebody with karate.
Okay. Have yourself a wonderful night.
Bye.
To meet you
Bye.
next
Bye.
time.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.